And we are rolling. How you doing today, Claude?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for doing the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So let how first off, are you from the Lansing area?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. Never been anywhere else.
I mean, I was raised in Mason for part of my life, but yeah, pretty much.
Okay. How do you like it?
I love Lansing, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the general consensus of people who live in Lansing. For some reason, they're like, I love Lansing.
I've seen a couple of negative Nancys, but yeah, that seems to be, yeah,
Yeah, there definitely are some negative Nancy's. Can't make everybody happy, I guess.
I guess not.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. What kind of things are you into?
Yeah, so I am first and foremost an artist and designer.
Okay.
I studied graphic design for a large part of my life. That's what my mom does essentially.
Okay.
And I also did art from a young age because well, I was like chronically sick as a young child. So
Oh wow.
yeah, there was
With what?
with juvenile dermatomyositis. It's where the yeah, it's where the immune system basically attacks the muscles.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome that? How did you get through that?
Yeah, it's basically you just have to take medicine and hope. There's a lot of kids out there who
And hope.
um
Is that what you said?
yeah, and hope. That's right, because
Wow.
there's a lot of kids out there who have this and they don't end up growing out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it a life-threatening illness?
Yeah, it can be.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So what kind of medication do you have to take?
Prednisone and folic acid to make up for it too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And how long did you have to deal with that?
On and off. I think it was 2 or 3 years the first time, and then I went into remission when I was about 8 or 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It
And
kind of sucked.
yeah, I could imagine. And it affects your muscles, you said?
Yeah, it affects the muscles.
So does it make you feel weak at all?
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes you basically unable to walk, unable to go upstairs, do a lot of the things that you would be able to do as a normal child.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. I never like could imagine that as a child. I mean, because like I think about it like as a kid, like running around, like sometimes you get like cramps in your legs and stuff and
hmm
whatnot. But like I couldn't imagine just like having some sort of were you like bedridden from it?
Not bedridden, not quite, but I couldn't go
Okay.
outside because the sun would make it worse.
The sun would?
Yeah, the sun would. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So as you can
Wow.
imagine, I had, the big old hat, like gallons of sunscreen.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So, I don't remember how we got there.
Yeah, art, right. That
Art.
was
Okay.
so my parents actually asked somebody to come up to the house and help me figure out how to not be so gosh dang bored all the time, right? So like my son, I was also interested in science and math and animals and all that.
Yeah.
But I was also interested in the art because it seemed to me like an escape. You could do literally anything you wanted. And
Yeah.
that's how I kind of look at it today too.
Is that with the designing? Like,
That's where a lot of designing comes from.
okay.
I'd say they're separate, but for me they're pretty intertwined because I play with both of them enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of art do you do?
I do a lot of character art.
Okay.
I do a lot of fantasy art.
Oh, cool.
Um, Started doing more nature and animal focused art these days
Okay.
because it's a lot of people seem to really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Do you sell your work?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you go to like shows, like art shows and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like that?
and I'm starting to go to them again.
Okay.
Yeah, because COVID was,
Yeah, it kind of took a hit on everything, right?
yeah, no kidding.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's COVID. Oh my gosh. COVID affected so many different things in so many different aspects. Like, do you think we'll ever truly get back to normalcy?
I wish, but I don't honestly think so. There's too much floating around out there. That's we've got into the there's a lot of people who think it's going to be endemic and basically act like the common cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it does, right?
Well, I mean, act like the common cold as far as like how it affects people. Not. I mean, I wish it was as mild as the common cold.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Unfortunately, no. I don't think so.
No. I mean, it is I mean, it is a pretty big virus. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to wear a mask when I have a cold.
Yeah. Did you ever get COVID?
No, thank God.
No, you never got it.
Yeah.
I got it twice.
Oh, no, that sucks.
Yeah, it was actually not that bad.
Okay.
I mean, the first time was bad. The second time was bad for like a day or two, and then I was fine.
Yeah.
The first time I got it pretty bad. I got it from a car dealership. I was buying a car, and the guy was right in my face.
Oh,
Like,
no.
and it was, it was something that, like, I guess I could have put a mask on, but I had my mask on while I was doing all the purchasing, and then
Yeah.
I was getting ready to leave, jumped in the new truck, getting ready to drive off, and he came out, and he's like in my window showing me different things real quick before I left,
and that would do it.
and I had my mask off, and then he was right in my face.
Oh, man.
And yeah, that dirty bird gave me the virus.
Oh, man.
But that was right at the beginning too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people knew about it then, I guess.
Well, no, it was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were a few months in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like Delta. That's the one I got.
Oh, Delta. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't, I mean, again, it was bad, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like, I wasn't dying.
Right.
Right. There's a lot of people that did die from it. So
yeah, exactly.
I can't complain.
Hopefully haven't got long COVID.
No, I actually, I was afraid of that because I was in the middle of training for a 50-mile ultra race. And right in the middle of that is when I got COVID, and I was only like 8 weeks out from my race. And so like 2 weeks after having COVID, I tried to get on my air bike and, just to try to get back into shape. And it was a struggle trying to breathe and everything.
Yeah.
And so I was concerned that I wouldn't necessarily recoup back to the way I was before the race. But within, I'd say like 4 weeks, I was back to normal.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weirdest part was losing your taste.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
It was really strange because like I would get cravings still, like, like a chocolate craving or something.
Yeah.
And I would eat, a piece of chocolate.
And it wouldn't do anything for you.
Well, no, I'd taste it. I wouldn't taste it.
Right.
But like it would fulfill that craving, which is strange.
That is strange.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
I hope I never get it again.
Yeah, I bet.
At least that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I love food too much.
I know it.
Yeah, so this episode is brought to you by Red Bike Delivery. This delivery service operates only using battery-powered, eco-friendly transportation. Red Bike Delivery is there for all your delivery needs, whether it's dinner for the family, flowers for your partner, or new houseplants for your new collection. Red Bike Delivery will gladly deliver those and everything in between. So what are you waiting for? Check out Red Bike Delivery on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Red Bike Delivery, because there's only one Earth. So you're into art.
Right.
You do a lot of fantasy character type art. Do you draw it, or how do you do it?
Yeah, I draw, I paint, I do a lot of digital art as well.
Okay.
As you can imagine.
Yeah.
I think
How do you do that?
There's like a digitizer thing.
Okay.
Is what it's usually called. Like some people call it a drawing tablet, but then you get confused with like iPads and stuff.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
You're like one of the most easygoing people I know. You know that?
Thank you.
You're like, oh, it's okay. I like it. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, a drawing tablet, and it hooks up to the computer either via Bluetooth or USB connection.
Okay.
And it's just this flat pad, and you draw on it with a pen.
Okay.
Some people use their hands with it and use different shortcuts. I'm one of the bad ones because I still use keyboards.
Do you said you use an iPad, right?
I do use an iPad nowadays, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you use what's that app? It's an art app. Procreate, yeah.
I'm being stubborn. I use Autodesk Sketchbook.
What's the difference?
Honestly, Procreate's better.
Okay.
It's just you have to pay money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit of a cheap ass. So.
Yeah, I hear you. You got to pay for everything these days, and it's so frustrating.
Hey, at least it's not a subscription.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a one time done and
Yep.
deal. Yeah. So what do you do for work?
So I actually work as a customer support analyst for Vertifor.
And what's Vertifor?
They're an insurance software company.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I do a lot of SQL and customer service, and alongside that,
Mm.
kind of analyze a lot of data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we started the podcast, you had mentioned that I talk to people about their past and
Mhm.
whatnot. Is there something from your past that you'd like to talk about
Um,
that kind of shaped who you are today?
yeah, I'd say, so I actually am also mentally ill. I have schizoaffective disorder,
Okay.
which is like schizophrenia paired with something else, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. And that really, as you can imagine, shaped a lot of like childhood, like, I don't know if how much you're aware of it, but like, there's delusions, right? Where you think of something that's not true and you're basically hooked on that and you believe it. You
Okay.
might actually know that it's not true, but you sit there and you believe it and you hold on to it. As a child, you don't really get the idea that it's not true as much.
Mm.
So you hold on to this thing like, hey, I'm the best in the world. I could be like the king of the whole world. And you just hold on to that. And it's not true. And that just affects everything around you. And then, of course, there's the seeing stuff, which is probably what, schizophrenia is one of the hallmarks of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did you've had this your whole life?
Yeah, pretty much.
At what age did you realize that it was like a kind of a problem, or that it like, because you said it affects the things around you, I'm assuming it affects people around you, your
Right.
relationships and whatnot. So at what age did you start noticing some of that?
Well, I've always been like a really odd kid, but I didn't really notice it as a problem until late high school.
Okay.
And I had kind of like a psychotic break. And basically, I was hallucinating like every day.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really scary.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
So
So
what kind of things were you hallucinating about?
like there's kind of this shadowy figure. It's kind of like a dog, but it doesn't have like a head. It just has like a brown bulbous thing, and it's on fire, and it's
Huh.
got like blue and purple flames. It's not nearly so vivid as you're thinking. It's like usually they're like kind of in the back of your vision, just like hanging out there.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
But do you think it would also be kind of good for like art,
It, yeah.
like being an artist?
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah,
Because it
it
probably gives you
is.
like like a picture to paint.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
kind of.
Because you also like, I have a lot of sleep disturbances still, even though I have the medicine and stuff. And what ends up happening is I close my eyes and I'm not even asleep yet, and I've already got these images. And I'm
Wow.
like, oh, I guess I better get up and write it down.
Now, I want to go back. So when you were a kid and a teenager going through some of this, what kind of things did you have to do in order to kind of like, I don't want to say become normal, because
Right.
that is your normal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But in order to kind of scale it back a little bit, did you have to go on medication? Did you? No.
No, I did not until I was an adult.
Wow.
Yeah. So, my parents really maintain this idea that there's no such thing as like a normal child, which in some ways is really good, but in some ways it's like really harmful because, you could work better with some things, therapy, meds,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
So, I'd
That's kind
often
of,
have like nightmares and stuff. So,
I could imagine,
yeah.
with having very vivid dreams.
Right. Yep.
Um, that's kind of like the old school thinking of things, right?
Hmm.
Like he'll be fine.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Everybody's different.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that could be like what's the word I'm looking for? Not an enabler, but like, yeah.
Kind of like a denial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, did you find it difficult to like make friends
Oh,
and
yeah.
things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, when I was a senior in high school, I had like a lot of friends. Like there were a lot of people around me who were like, "Oh, can you be my friend?" I don't think it was like really true necessarily. I suspect a lot of them were there because I could also draw really well. I mean, we kids are very mean, so
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they definitely are.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's so crazy. I couldn't even imagine, like, so when you're awake and you're just staring off,
Hmm.
you can see images.
Yeah, sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. It obviously happens more often when I don't have medicine.
Yeah. So at what age did you go on medication?
I think I want to say 21.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty
And
late.
did you realize like a significant difference
Oh yeah.
in things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Was it better?
It was so much better. I could like actually concentrate on things. My anxiety went way down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so crazy.
Uh-huh.
Now, did you also go to therapy or do any of that kind of stuff?
I do go to therapy.
Yeah.
I should really get back to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that also helps a lot because it kind of like normalizes your normal.
Yeah. Well, they can put your life into perspective, right?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, you can sit there and explain to somebody in therapy, like the way you're feeling, and then they're like, okay, they're looking at your situation from an outside perspective, and they're like, okay, this is what's going on, and like, I don't know, like, I mean, they don't have any dogs in the race, right? Like,
right.
like
There's a saying that goes around where if you talk to the therapist, they kind of help put your life in perspective.
yeah,
Because a lot of schizophrenia is also a thought disorder and talking disorder. And so with that comes ideas like, oh, well, I can't do this. Like there was in the example given, it was like, well, I can't have a sandwich for dinner. And it's like, why not? It feeds you. If that's what you can do,
yeah,
why not feed yourself a sandwich?
right. And is that something you struggle with all the time? Like the thought thing,
Yeah.
going back and forth with yourself?
Not necessarily. The voices aren't necessarily a thing anymore.
Okay.
But there's a lot of like things like word salad, disordered ideas like jumping from point A to point C.
I feel like I do that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that is kind of like elevated with schizophrenia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always wondered, like, what it would be like. I mean, I'm sure, like, if you could trade it for something, you would. Like, trade it to not have it. Would you?
I don't know that I would.
No?
I don't know. I might, but on the same token with that, there's medicine that makes it more like it makes it more livable.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that I would have been able to be the person that I am without it, honestly. Right. It's like, yeah, it's bad. It can be bad, but it's also such a large part of my identity at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why would you change that, right?
Right, exactly.
It's in a sense kind of made you who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like if you were a kid,
yeah,
right, and knowing all the things that you had to go through, like, and knowing the difficulties of life, not knowing how to manage it, not knowing like what's going on, do you think you would change it?
Yeah, kid me would definitely change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wonder what it's like to be somebody who has to deal with like a mental disorder like that, because like I think of my life, like I think of things through my lens, right? And so I couldn't imagine like being like, I think of somebody like let's say special needs,
right?
Somebody who is like autistic,
right?
Like, what's their perspective like?
Yeah.
Like, how do they see the same situation that I see? What is it? What is it like to them?
Yeah, and that's definitely a good thing to always kind of consider. Like, my husband is autistic, and so a lot of times we'll see things very differently. We'll look at the same idea and be like, well, for instance, he's gone to therapy as well, and so he has the little nuances between like irritation, anger, rage, etc.
Yeah.
And I'll look at something and be like, he'll be irritated, like mildly irritated. And I'll be like, "Are you mad at me?" Because I'm like, "What's the difference? It's just degrees of anger, right?"
Yeah. What is the difference?
Good question.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of that way too, where I don't like I don't have the degrees of like emotions. I have either happy, or like sad,
like
or
you have the
mad.
basic ones, but it's like a dial.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time I'm right in the middle. Most of the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really fluctuate all that much, I don't think.
I do, but the schizophrenia is paired with bipolar, so
What is that like?
that's horrible.
Yeah.
That one I would probably trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that like? What is that
So
like for you?
so for me, I have a lot of problems with money, and it took me a long time to realize that this wasn't necessarily like a moral failing. It's just you get super excited
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do this thing." And you've got like a 500,000 projects around the house. As my husband, it's filled to the brim with stuff I've never finished. I'll try, but man.
What is that, do you think? Like, why don't you finish them?
It's just I think that's because I've bitten off more than I can chew in a lot of these tendencies. Like, for instance, one of my hobbies I've picked up recently, and I'm really trying to get back to it, is doll modifying.
Wow.
So, I have this half finished doll that I'm trying to reroot. Rerouting is when you put the hair back in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's really cool. I found it
Oh.
one day because I was looking for something else, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I have to try this."
That's interesting. So that's another hobby you have.
hmm
So how did you get into that?
Yeah, I was actually looking up art dolls because
Okay.
and those are, let's see, they're kind of like needle felted on the outside, but then on the inside they have kind of like a little pop together skeleton.
Oh, interesting.
Usually they're like that.
Okay.
Some people use wire, but that's harder.
Okay.
Yeah. And so there was an art doll somebody had made in an art group that I'm in, and I'm like, "Oh, how do you make these actually? Because that's really cool." And then I looked up an art doll, and then one thing led to another, and then suddenly I was watching somebody modify a doll, and I was like, "Oh man."
Do you find yourself to be obsessive over things that you're interested in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Do you think that's a good quality?
It really depends. Because on the one hand, it's like, okay, great. Can we put down the drawing? You already did that circle like a million times. But on the other hand, at some point, it is good to be so obsessive over details. I mean, a lot of graphic design, for instance, is like obsessing over little details. It's like if you miss one little dot, and it just ruins the whole image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I struggle with. Like whenever I'm into something, I become obsessive over it, and to the point where like it starts affecting my daily life. Like with the podcast, like that's one thing I've gotten obsessive over is constantly like trying to figure out a different way to do it and trying to find like different ways to edit and like make it different. And to me, it's become like kind of like an art thing.
Oh yeah.
And then, I mean, like working out, I've become obsessive with that. And it's like, there's so many different things.
Right.
And my wife hates it. And she's like, at some point it starts affecting my everyday life.
Right.
Do you struggle with any of that?
I do. I have a hard time working sometimes, like at my job because I'm like, no, I want to work on my art.
Now, do you work from home?
I do, yes.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
I know. But it took me a long time to get there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you switch to working at home when COVID hit?
No, they probably did, but I'm kind of a serial job hopper, to be honest with you. I'm hoping to stay with Vertifor for longer than 6 months. So far, it's going well.
How long have you worked there?
6 months.
Oh, jeez.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Oh. Why do you jump jobs so much?
Oh, I mean, it's different times every time. Like, for instance, I worked at Bigby, the home office, and I had at the time, undiscovered sleep disorder, the sleep apnea.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like so exhausted. I would just fall asleep while working.
Wow.
Yeah. And that didn't go well. So then I went over to Peckham.
Okay.
And that one worked really well, actually. I was working in data entry, but I was also studying marketing at Davenport University. And I graduated. One of the keys to graduating is an internship or a project. And I was trying to go for the internship. And I was offered what I thought was a marketing job. They were like really excited to have me on. They were like, "Oh, you can just do this as your internship. We'll have you on." It was a whole big scam.
What? Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Through
They wanted
Davenport?
no, it wasn't through Davenport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to find the internship on your own and have it
Gotcha.
approved. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm just not good at that, I guess.
So where was the internship through?
It was through so I didn't end up doing an internship, but the place that scammed me was I think it was called Brandon Michael Digital.
Huh.
So
So
uh
how did they scam you?
so basically they wanted me to do a
Just
bunch of cold calling.
throw all their shit on the air.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Yeah, I think they're in legal trouble too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, cuz the people that they're cold calling, that they have us cold calling, they're trying to get services for marketing.
Wow.
And so basically what they're doing is they just like reroute and try to foist off as much of the work as they can, and then they don't pay you. I actually we all, because there were three of us who were hired, we all got the indication at the same time that, hey, something's up.
What made you realize that there was something up, that this was a scam?
Well, the talk of money was very, very vague. Never ever work for somebody if you don't know the money situation offhand.
Yeah.
Like if they're like, "Oh, you'll get paid per call that goes well, that does this." No, you're not going to get paid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you end up in that kind of situation?
I'm not very good. I fall for scams like that all the time. You know those ones where they have the jobs where they email you and they're like, "Oh, you work from home. You're inspecting packages." That's a scam.
What kind of scam? What other kind of scams have you been involved in?
Yeah, I know. I almost had a data entry job that was work from home, except it wasn't because they wanted. So the one that one was easier because the interview was over Google Meet chat.
Mm.
Do not do an interview through chat.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
That is so funny. How would you get yourself into that kind of situation?
You just get desperate, man.
Well, at least you have a good job, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm really thankful.
Yeah. Is that a Lansing-based company?
I'm trying to think whether they were out of Colorado or East Lansing first.
Okay.
I think Colorado just because it's bigger.
Okay.
But they've got a couple of like different like postings all over the world pretty much because they have one in India too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Hyderabad, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they have one in Windsor, Canada.
Wow. So could you travel for work if you wanted?
Yeah, I've already gone to Georgia.
Oh, nice. Oh, is it in Atlanta?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Well, technically, okay. So the insurance company was in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I went to work with the insurance company directly.
Mm.
So
I drove through Atlanta the other day, and oh my gosh, that is probably one of the worst cities I've ever driven in.
really,
Yeah, it was terrible.
okay.
I did not like it.
I've been to Tampa too, and
Tampa's busy.
yeah, I think I Ubered both times while I was in Tampa and
Okay.
Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, Tampa! Holy cow! What are they doing down there?
I drove to Tampa a couple years ago, but I was just driving to the airport, so I didn't drive around or anything. But I think the two worst cities I've ever driven in was Miami, which was during this trip that I was on, and Atlanta.
Really?
Yeah, they both sucked.
Okay.
Don't ever go to Miami.
Oh man.
It was like bumper to bumper, like go, stop, go, stop, go,
Oh,
stop,
Lordy.
all the way to West Palm Beach. It was terrible.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that I'll go back to Florida. It's way too hot down there.
It is. It is hot, but it's nice at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a sauna, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went in October. And
Okay.
it was still like I'm dripping in sweat. You know, I've got a tank top, shorts on. I'm
Yeah.
dripping.
That is funny. So when I got to Florida this last time, I flew in. I was wearing a hoodie and everything because Michigan is cold.
Right.
And I flew into Miami, and I get out, and I get the rental car and whatnot. And I'm like, man, I need a change. So I right there in the car, I just changed into shorts and a t-shirt because it was like 80 something degrees.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So, what else do you want to talk about on the podcast? What else do you want to bring up?
I do want to bring something up, actually. I have a show upcoming this Saturday.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it's at the Fledge. I don't know if
Okay.
you're aware of the Fledge.
Yeah,
They're
I love the
really cool.
Fledge.
Yeah, they are. They are
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah, they do really good things for the community.
They do.
Are you a part of the Fledge? Like, are you? I don't really know how to say that. Like, cause do they have like members? Is it or is it like just people from the community go there?
Yeah, it's basically people from the community go there.
Yeah.
For lack of better terms, I think you could call it probably a community center of sorts.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the correct termage, but that's how it comes across to be.
That's how it would come across to me too. I honestly don't really know what the Fledge is. Like, I know what it is.
Right.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
been to. But the thing is like,
They branch out into so much stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, what do you...
what are you labeled as?
Right, exactly.
Are they like a nonprofit? Like,
I believe they are nonprofit.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just do so many different things. It's wild.
It is so wild.
It is. So, your show is at the Fledge.
Yep.
What is it going to consist of?
So it's going to consist of basically, so I don't know if you've ever been to like a craft show or an art show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like that, except it's going to be kind of more close knit. There's going to be fewer of us. We're going to have more stuff out. We're really going to be able to like chat with people, and talk about what it is that, we're basing our work on. You can ask questions about what we do. Well, at least I'm okay with it. I don't know if the other people are. Probably.
How many people are doing it? Do you know?
So I don't have an exact number, but I know that there's space for up to, I believe, 18 people.
Wow.
And I know they're still taking people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's an art event.
Yep.
Okay. Is it inside?
Yep. It's
Okay.
inside. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. So do you have a business doing it, or how do you obviously sell your work.
Right.
So is it a business?
I guess for lack of better terms, I would say yes, because it is a DBA.
Okay.
I don't have it filed as an LLC yet.
Okay.
That's something I'm working on.
What would you name it?
It's called ClauDesigns.
Oh.
Yep, doing
cool.
business as ClauDesigns.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Thanks. Although sometimes it confuses people because I use the DE part of my name and designs.
Oh, okay.
So I had somebody who was like, they were introducing me as Claude, and I'm like, that's cool, but that's not my name.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Now, do you sell your artwork just in person, or do you sell online?
I do sell online. I really need to just move my butt along and get it updated on Etsy.
Okay.
Yep, because right now I just have a Redbubble.
I don't know what that is.
It's like basically you go on and you upload your work and you can get it on anything. And it's a really great way to start out because that's how, like, if you don't have materials, they basically take the material cost out of whatever the person bought. So
Wow.
you can get like a t-shirt, you can get something as crazy as like a canvas print or like a notebook or what else do they have? They have like the drawstring backpacks.
Oh.
Yep, they got phone cases, tablet cases. They
Really?
got a lot of stuff. Oh,
What,
yeah.
what was it called again?
Redbubble. It's
Redbubble.
all together. Yeah.
Okay. That kind of reminds me of what's it called? It's like a t-shirt place online. And
TeePublic?
what is it?
TeePublic, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I was looking into something too similar to that for like the podcast to sell like merchandise.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so like you can just pick what item you want because they have like a selection of like coffee mugs and t-shirts and hoodies, pants, literally anything that you could think of, and then they just print it.
Oh yeah.
And they have all the different things, and you don't really have to do anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because then it kind of changes the game a little bit. You don't have to worry about having all this stuff laying around, and who knows if you're going to sell it and make money. Like
exactly. Like I bought 6 t-shirts, and I'm going to put art on them, but at the same time, I'm like, what if they don't sell?
Yeah, then you're stuck with 6 t-shirts
right, exactly.
that you might not wear.
Exactly. They're too small for me.
Oh wow. So do you is that one of your shirts right there?
No, this is a piece from Wizard of Barge.
Okay.
I follow them on Instagram. They have some really I like their style. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's like somewhere between cartoony and like kind of eerie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are you into like kind of eerie things
Sometimes, yeah.
like maybe some horror movies
I do
or
not like horror movies.
you don't like horror movies?
No, very scary.
That's the point, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I used to be more into like Halloween was my favorite holiday. I carried my lunch around in a jack-o'-lantern.
Wow.
But then I grew older and I'm like, that's kind of cringe actually.
Did you get made fun of at all for that?
Not to my face.
Oh, okay. Did you find yourself getting made fun of at all growing up? Were kids mean to you?
Yeah, kids were really mean,
Yeah.
especially in like later elementary school to middle school. But then it started chilling out in high school. That's
Okay.
not, I mean, your mileage may vary. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but people start thinking, it's really not chill to like be mean to people for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I found like when I was in school is that people weren't necessarily like bullies per se. Like the typical stereotypical bully. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Yeah.
mean like just like tripping somebody or stuff
Yeah,
like that.
like they did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People weren't necessarily like that. Like if somebody had an issue, you know what I mean? Like for instance, there was this guy that we went to school with, and he was special needs, and he kind of talked a little funny. I think he might have had like a lisp.
Oh, yeah.
But the nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
Like you'll ever meet. One of
Absolutely.
the nicer than you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not very nice.
But you know, like he wouldn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
And so like everybody like kind of like liked him, but at the same time like you could tell people were like just pulling him in so they could like just have a laugh, you know.
I know exactly what you're talking
So
about.
they weren't like necessarily picking on him, but they were just like kind of like making fun of him with him there. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
and it's bullying
Yeah.
you know, it's a form of bullying, but it's
Yeah.
not your stereotypical type of bullying.
Right, exactly.
Did you end up having to deal with any of that at all?
Yep.
It
Had a lot
irritates
of
the fuck
people
out
who
of
were
me.
like, they would be like, "Oh, so and so wants to ask you out," as like a joke. Yeah.
That is so traumatic.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
hate
God.
that crap.
Did you go ask that person out?
No, I didn't.
Good for you. Yeah, that's I couldn't imagine having to deal with that. Luckily for me, like I never really got bullied. Yeah, no, not really.
That's good.
Yeah.
Bullying
Well,
sucks. Don't do it.
Actually, I did get bullied a little bit, like in elementary school, because I was not adopted, but in foster care. I was adopted, but when I came in from like when I first went into foster care and came to a new school and everything, like people were like, "Oh, hey, who are you?"
Right.
And then you kind of get made fun of a little bit because they're like, "Yeah, your parents are shitty because you're in foster care."
Yep.
You know,
I
so
can see that.
that whole narrative, people kind of make fun of you a little bit for that, but yeah, bullying sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, even my son gets bullied, and he's a little odd, but like he's not like nearly as odd as I was.
Well, you would think like with the way like technology has gone and like our knowledge of the way things affect us, that like you would think that parents would teach their kids better, right? And you know, I guess it might not necessarily just be the parents. You know, the parents could be doing just fine, and the kid could just be a freaking asshole.
It really depends. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does vary. But you know, like for me, like if I found out my kid was bullying, you know, that would be a big problem.
It would absolutely.
Yeah, and some parents don't do anything about it.
That's really frustrating.
It is frustrating, especially when you have a kid and you're teaching them to not do that to other people.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's a lot of parents out there who just don't realize the harm.
Yeah.
They're just like, they have the attitude, "Oh, kids get bullied all the time. It's not a problem."
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a huge problem.
Yeah.
And one thing that like is concerning for me is like social media. So like, you know, back when I was in school, we didn't have social media.
Exactly.
So you know, at least not when I was like in elementary school and middle school, maybe a little bit in high school, but it wasn't used like how it is used today.
Exactly.
So like when you're at school, you know, you get bullied at school and then you go home and people still freaking bully you online. And it's like, I've heard of so many stories of other kids committing suicide because of the things that they never leave it. It follows them home every single day.
Absolutely traumatic. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine growing up today. Could
Yeah.
you? Like, there's
Can't
so
do
many
it.
good aspects to life today, but they're
Yeah.
also like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be like kind of unpacked and understood, I
Yeah.
think.
What do you think needs to change? What
Oh.
do you, I mean, there's so many different things that needs to change, but like, as far as like the way society has gone, it seems like with, um, there's a famous quote, that by Mike Tyson that, it says, so he said, social media has allowed you to disrespect people and not get punched in the fucking face for it.
Yeah, basically.
And I feel like that's so true on so many different levels, is that there, because there's a screen in between you and that person, that people feel like they can say whatever the fuck they want to say to you. And it causes, to me, for me, it causes a huge problem, because I'm like, you would never say that to me if we
Right.
were sitting across from each other. Like, I just recently put up an episode that a lot of people didn't agree with. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
I did see some of it, yeah.
But the thing is like, for me, like, those people wouldn't say that to me if they were sitting right there.
No.
They would
Absolutely
never,
not.
they would never talk to me. Like you and I probably don't agree on so many different things.
I'm sure. But
did
we're
we-
not going to get into that.
We're not going to get into that.
No.
Like, we're having a great conversation.
Exactly.
Like, I like you as a person. I
Right.
hope you like me. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Absolutely. You're pretty chill. I like that.
But, like, the thing is like, through social media and having the access to be able to say whatever you want to say and not have any repercussions for it, makes people like keyboard warriors, and they don't, in a sense, it's bullying at its finest.
It is.
And-
And there's a lot of people who have like bad takes, especially when they take on like the mask of anonymity. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to say it again.
No, you're good. I don't want to try to say, because I feel like I'm going to mess it up too.
The mask of being anonymous. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, the thing is like, people like that, I feel, I mean, I don't want to generalize, but like, when let's say, their kids see them talking like that to other people, they're going to think it's okay.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and that causes an issue. You should
Yeah.
never talk to anybody, whether it's online, whether it's in person. You should never treat another human being like that.
No.
Yeah. That's my rant. I'm over. Mic drop. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's, for me, that's like, if I could change anything in today, I think it would be the way people talk to other people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like communication is probably one of the biggest things that, I mean, first of all, it's like one of the greatest things that we have.
Right.
To be able to get to know other people is communication, talking.
Absolutely.
And
It's what sets us apart.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how you learn to respect other people, is, everybody has a different opinion about something. But the great thing about communicating, about things, is that you can talk about it. You don't have to fight and bicker
Exactly.
and banter back and forth, So
Yeah.
if I could change anything, I think it'd be communication.
Yeah. And I think along that same kind of vein, I think that a lot of education is too closed off, Like there's college, and it's generally accepted that you should go to college, but whew, boy, the student loans though.
Tell me about it.
I know. And like, community college is like, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of people who are like, discounting community college, and then there's people who just plain can't afford community college.
Yeah. Or there's people that aren't cut out to go to college.
Exactly. There's people who either can't or don't want to, and that should be fine. But I feel like there's a lot of education for people that should be like opened up. Like, how there's like computer classes for the seniors at the library.
Right.
Why not open up like anything like that? Like,
yeah, I think things are kind of moving in a direction to where you don't necessarily like let's say you want to get a job,
right.
Doing a certain thing. I think things are kind of moving in a direction where you don't necessarily need to go to college. Especially like with the invitation of the internet and being able to learn anything at any point in time.
Exactly. Unfortunately, a lot of employers still,
they require it.
Yep.
And it's asinine, I think, because like if I wanted, I mean, I don't know about computer programming, but let me use it as an example.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to learn computer programming,
There you go.
could I go online and learn about it?
Absolutely.
And
It's so easy.
and then I could practice it,
Exactly.
and I could probably become pretty freaking good at it.
Yeah.
I don't need to go to college for it. But is that going to affect the way I do my job?
No.
So,
No.
like I don't know. I think that there's a lot of different courses that you can take, and maybe not necessarily in computer programming, but there's a lot of different things you can do to where you just get like a certificate.
Oh yeah.
And then you don't have to go to college for it, but you have the skills necessary to get a job doing a job in that field.
I've seen a lot of IT move in that direction too. My brother actually, he's tried to go to college twice now. I don't know if he'll make it the second time. I hope so. He's really jonesing for it. He's excited about it, but he didn't make it the first time because of cost.
Wow.
So, it just starts catching up with you.
Yeah.
And he has a nice job now in computer programming.
Wow.
But it took him longer than it should have because nobody understood that he already knew this stuff.
Right.
He could demonstrate all day long and they'd be like, "Oh, well, you don't have a degree." So
it's kind of a wild thing, cuz like could you imagine if, like, let's say, well, let's use this as an example. Like when a kid is in high school, you have coaches coming to the high school to recruit them, like in basketball and football and all these sports. They don't give a fuck about their education. They just want them to come play for them because they know that they will make them win.
Yep.
And then same thing for when they're in college. You have these scouts who work in like the NBA, the NFL, trying to recruit people so that, they can go to the NFL. And a lot of times these sports players don't end up finishing their degrees. They just go on to the NFL or the big leagues, whatever.
Right. And they end up making more money than any of us ever will hope to imagine.
And they don't have the skills necessary. I mean, not necessary. I shouldn't say that because that's a completely different skill, being able to play a sport. But the thing is like they don't have an education in that. They just know how to do it really well.
Right.
And they've always known how to do it really well through training and practicing and all that. They didn't study it. They didn't go to school for, like, I mean, I guess maybe they go to school for it, but like there's no classes for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no degree for it.
Yeah.
And so like if you can do that, why can't you do that in any other job?
Exactly. And especially computer programming, the example you outlined.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, well, you need a degree to do graphic design." You don't.
I
had a degree in graphic design. You don't.
Wow.
You just need to learn how to put stuff together. That's it.
I think a lot of things like that. I think if you had like just on the job experience, that's really all you need.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Absolutely.
There's been so many different things like so many different jobs I've had, and you didn't really need a degree for them, but like by doing them, you just learn how to do it because of just experience. It's like anything else. Like for instance, this podcast, like sure, you could go to college and get a degree in podcasting or some sort of certificate or whatever.
It's like sound engineering or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't need to. I can do it on my own. I can watch the pros and I can learn online. Like there's so many different ways to do something now. You don't need a degree. I can't even talk. So apparently I do need to go to college. So, you don't need a degree for certain things.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're moving in the right direction, but very slowly.
Yeah.
And I think the educational system itself is probably going to take a hit, and there's going to be some pushback from them because they're going to be losing money when people aren't going to college. But college is just ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. I agree. It is way too expensive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disclose the exact amount, but my degree is rivaling my mortgage.
Yeah. I remember my wife when her and I got together. She went to art college, and we were talking about her student loans and stuff. And I think I asked her how much it was, and she's like, "You don't want to know."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because it's like a mortgage." And I was like, I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay." That sounds stressful.
Yeah. Yeah, I could talk all day about, how nothing's risen wage-wise, but everything else has risen above. Like I just saw something today about the price of a Big Mac in 2009 versus 2022.
What was it?
It was like, what was it, $3 in 2009, and then it's like 5 something now.
Holy cow.
And then federal minimum wage both times, $7.25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That puts it into perspective.
It really does.
really fast. Yeah.
Yeah. No wonder why when I go to McDonald's, it's like $17.
I know. Like I was like, I thought it was crazy because like when my parents had all three of us, they would go to like Burger King or McDonald's and whatever, and then walk
Yeah.
out and give $20 and get back a lot of change.
Yeah.
And then nowadays it's like, oh my god, I can't even feed like my family of three on that.
No, I only got 2 meals.
Right.
Yeah, that's insane. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like I don't really like McDonald's
No.
that much.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like an evil necessity.
Oh, yeah, it's like anything else.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I like a lot is I just love their food. I know a lot of people don't agree with like their politics or whatever, but Chick-fil-A, they have that shit down.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's so good. I've never really gone to Chick-fil-A all that much until recently. I went
Right.
there and I was like, holy cow, like this, like you actually get a lot of food for a decent amount of money. And they like the service is amazing. Like you pull up through the drive-through and they're like, "Hi, sir. Like how may I assist you today?" And I'm like, "Where am I at?"
Yeah. Honestly, though, if I'm gonna be like, there's a term that my old employer used to use, radical candor. That stuff grinds my gears. You know why?
What's that? What's
like the politeness. Radical candor is like
Oh.
being really honest.
Okay.
Because I worked at Staples, and basically you're supposed to say "my pleasure" anytime.
Oh,
It's all fake.
it is fake.
And
That is fake.
It's like that they don't want to be there
Yeah.
doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. Something hits different when you work at a service job and then go see other people and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the thing is though, is like I've gone through I've gone to other restaurants and people aren't polite.
No,
Like,
they're not.
and like you're like, do you even like your job? like I understand like people have bad days and I
Right.
understand you're working in customer service. Like
Yeah.
it's a shitty job.
Yeah.
Working for other people sucks.
It really does.
I worked at McDonald's. I worked in the drive-thru. I worked
Right.
front counter. And I've had bad days and I've had to do it and it's not fun. And having like being forced to be nice to people
Yeah.
is not something you want to do when you're having a bad day.
No.
But at the same time, like the way you treat other people
Mhm.
affects them too. So like I've gone through drive-thrus before or to like up to the front counter or whatever, and like an employee will be rude or like
Mhm.
just real short and like kind of edgy, I guess.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what is your problem?
Right.
Like, but if I was a more vulnerable person, somebody
Right.
who like had like maybe I was having a bad day,
Yeah.
maybe that would affect me.
Yeah, I remember one time I went to Quality Dairy when I was at another job, and I was so hungry that I was feeling weak and nauseous, and I couldn't like enunciate or like project my voice.
Right.
And so she asked me whether it was credit or debit, and I said credit, and she blew up on me because she thought I said debit, and so she got the pin pad out. And I was like, I didn't say debit.
Oh my gosh, people are so like I mean, I don't know. That's kind of insane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she was just having a bad day.
Yeah, she probably was.
Yeah. I try not to hold that stuff against them,
Yeah.
but it's like sometimes like when you're working in that kind of field, you need to be polite.
Yeah.
You need to be polite. And I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess I don't know what the job sucks.
Yeah, it
I
does.
know it sucks. So
Yeah, there's not really a great solution, but honestly,
Yeah.
one thing that doesn't help probably all the like you go to a small town, right? What do they got? Like a McDonald's,
Burger
like some
King,
yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff needs to stop.
Yeah.
There's no reason that like I'm trying to think of a small town off the top of my head. I'm trying not to say Mason.
Let's say Perry.
Yeah,
How about that?
Perry. Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason they should have like 5 fast food restaurants. Why?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, there's not enough traffic. Maybe one. Maybe.
But I like having variety.
Yeah, that's true. But like
Like if you want to go to like I mean if the only thing you have is like a McDonald's and
That's
then
true.
you want to go to Burger King, you got to drive all the way to Lansing. That kind of sucks.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like options.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a perfect solution, obviously, but like,
It doesn't offer very much opportunity.
No.
It doesn't offer very much opportunity for you to advance and like further your education.
No.
And because I mean, there's so many people competing for that.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, when I worked at Burger King when I was going to college the first time, and they were constantly asking me if I would come in on days I was going to class.
Wow.
As if they didn't understand that the whole reason I'm there is to pay for class.
Right.
Like, you're acting like you're first. Step aside.
One thing that I seen, I guess it's kind of good coming from COVID, is that a lot of these places, especially because they had a hard time finding people to work, started offering more incentives.
Yeah.
And better pay and like more room to advance and like they pay for college and
Oh yeah.
they give you like some benefits, even like maybe healthcare. I don't know.
Yeah, I was at Taco Bell the other day and they have a scholarship program going on.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll donate to that.
I think that having those kind of opportunities will like make people want to work at a place like that. At least it would make me. I wish they, like when I worked at McDonald's, that they had something like that, because like who knows where I'd be. I'd probably be a CEO somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we are 55 minutes in.
All right.
We've talked about a lot of different things. We talked about your mental health. We talked about a lot about bullying, things like that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about on the podcast? We're talking about your show coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
What time does that start at?
It starts at 1.
Okay.
It goes till 4. So it's a nice little, evening jaunt, afternoon jaunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's at the Fledge.
Yep.
And there's going to be a bunch of other people there, other businesses or art people?
Artists. Yep.
Artists. Okay.
Yep. I know one gal, she's doing, I think, knit or crochet, one of those.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I don't remember which one. I always get them mixed up.
That's one thing that I think is kind of cool about Lansing is like there's a pretty big art community here, but the thing is like everybody's different. Like nobody like is the same. Like everybody's artwork is like very unique and like to them, and it doesn't seem like they're trying to like I guess like portray it as like another artist, like a big artist or whatever. Like they're just doing them. It's cool. It's kind of cool to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that's unique about my art that I don't often see in this type of space is that it's like anime styled. So like a lot of people, they're either like anime artists or they're like fine artists.
Okay.
You don't often see them mixing.
Oh.
In fact, you often see one group kind of like being mean to the other for no reason.
Really?
Yeah. Oh.
Like here locally?
No, not locally. No,
Okay.
but like in the there's a lot of anime artists online who are like, oh yeah, I was made fun of because I, draw anime.
Wow.
And it's like.
Why would you get made fun of for drawing anime? Like, I feel like that's probably one of the hardest things to draw. Yeah,
it is. It absolutely is, because there's not just like, you got to learn the style. You got to learn. There's a lot of different like for instance, when I've been drawing anime for a long time, but one of the things that I noticed is that when I took a figure drawing, it went way up.
Really?
Like anime takes just as much skill, if not more, than traditional drawing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is that, do you think?
I have no idea. I think it's because it's like a style thing. I do. Like if you think about it, if you're an artist and you're drawing in like let's say you do realism and you try to draw in like a let's say you want to imitate Monet. So you usually do like your scumbling or whatnot, your cross hatching, your different drawing techniques with the pencil. Now you got to sit there and do impressionism, which is like where you do a bunch of different like strokes with the paint. It's totally different.
Yeah. So it just makes you an all-around better
Right.
artist.
Exactly.
Because you're taking more skills from different forms and putting them together.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's interesting. The one thing that I think is kind of funny is I don't like snobs. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like people who like think that you should do something one way. Like this is the right way. This is how you should do it.
That's what I hear a lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, why?
Yeah. Why?
Why should you do it that way?
Yeah.
Like,
I get that.
for podcasts, there's a a Facebook group I'm a part of, and a lot of times people will be like, they will get on there and they'll be like, "What's a good camera for a podcast?" or whatever, and people will be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have video for podcasts. That's not a podcast." Like,
Why not?
why not? Who says?
Like,
why is there a right
who
way
made
to
you
do
the
it?
boss?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, who said that podcasts can't have video?
Mm-hmm.
Who said that you had to do everything a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
I find it interesting.
Yeah.
That people are just so like like narrow-minded and like just have one perspective of what something should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, I think it makes you better in all aspects. Like when you mix things and you do your own thing, not what everybody expects you to do, it just makes you better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
As an artist, as like a musician, it's like, I mean, the same thing could be said for music, right?
Oh yeah.
Like somebody who plays all kinds of different music,
Yep.
like jazz or classical or what's other forms of like.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, but like let's say
even within electronic music, there's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. But if you blended all that together, all the different techniques that it takes to play all those different styles,
Yep.
that would just make you better as a musician.
One of my favorite musical types of things to listen to, I was about to say do, but I don't do music. I'm like tone deaf. But when they mix the bass drop that you often hear in electronic music with like symphonic leanings,
Oh, okay.
that's really cool. I love that.
Huh. Now, do you listen to a lot of that kind of music?
To be honest with you, I listen to a lot of like post-punk and dark wave, but I do listen to like I listen to a lot of different music.
Okay.
Like Depeche Mode. I feel like everybody listens to Depeche Mode.
I don't know. I don't even know who that is.
Okay, that's fair. They're a big band from the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. So do you like is it like what kind of music is that?
So it's like the reason it's called post-punk, I believe, don't quote me on this, but it's because it's like punk, but it's electronic.
Oh.
So like if you went electronic with your punk music, so like you think a lot of like I'm trying to think of a punk band because I was about to say Nirvana, but they're more grunge.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to this stuff.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
there
The
really
snobs.
shouldn't be.
The snobs, right?
Exactly.
Nirvana's not a punk band. What's wrong with him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Green Day is more punk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's like Green Day type
Sort
style.
of, but like if they went electronic.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then dark wave is more like the aesthetic sounding music, but then like very, very dark and tonally like grungy.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now are there local people that play this kind of music? Do you know?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Okay.
I don't think so. It's
No.
possible, but when I went to go listen to the concert, it was in Tampa, Florida, so I doubt it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we are now an hour and 2 minutes in.
All right.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about on the podcast real quick?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm still reworking my website, so
Okay.
don't go visit my website.
But you have social media.
I do.
Okay.
I have like a Facebook group. It's called ClauDesign's Creative Den.
Okay.
And Creative Den is all together, but you'll probably find it as soon as you start searching ClauDesign.
Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes.
Sounds good.
So
Sounds good.
it'll be easy to find.
Sweet.
And let's see here. Your shows this weekend. I don't know if I have anything else.
I don't know if I have anything else either.
Well, thanks for doing this. It was fun. I'm glad you didn't cancel on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you messaged me, I'm like, oh boy. And then you're like,
yeah.
don't worry, I'm not canceling.
I'm not canceling. I try not to do that. I try not to do that.
I try not to do it either because I don't like it when people do it to me.
Exactly.
And if I do cancel, I want it to be like in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like it when people do it to me, and so I try not to do it to other people as well.
Exactly. Treat people as you want to be treated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Plus, I love doing podcasts. I love talking to new people, meeting new people, seeing different perspectives, hearing about different people's lives. I mean, it adds so much value to my life.
Yeah.
You know, like it makes me see life in a different light. Every time I come out of a podcast, I sit back. I'm like, whew. There's like a lot to take from each episode.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for doing this. It's been
Absolutely.
fun, and hopefully we can do it again. And good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.